Good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. Today's webinar is yes. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. Today's webinar is about art integration towards experiential learning. My name is Simran Sharma, and together we are going to explore one of the most transformational approaches mandated by CBSE and National Education Policy 2020. In the next few slides, uh, we'll delve into different art forms. We will go through how we can integrate these art forms. We will understand what, when, and how of integrating art into our daily teaching practices. Okay, so let's begin and understand what art integration is. What is art integration? If you simply put it, art integration is educational strategy that weaves into different art forms, say dance, drama, music, etc., into teaching and learning of core subjects. So it is not about art or teaching art for art's sake. Here we are talking about art, using art as a bridge, as a very powerful tool to help our students understand abstract or different or difficult concepts of math, science, English, social science, etc., effectively and memorably. For example, suppose I am a maths teacher. Okay, I'm a maths teacher and I have to introduce a topic of fractions to my young students of, say, grade 4 or 5. So, how am I going to do it? Am I going to just write on the board and say, okay, dear friends, dear children, this is 1 and half of it is 1/2, and then goes on to say 1/4 and other fractions? Do you think they are going to understand that? No, they won't, because the concept itself is new to them. And this 1 and half and 1/4 is totally abstract for them. So, how are you going to start the topic? How you are going to introduce the topic? Rather, if you will draw a beautiful pizza on the board. So, looking at the pizza, you got their attention. Oh, is ma'am going to talk about pizza today? Or what? Why is this pizza drawn on the board? So if you draw something which attracts them and they like to eat, for example, this, you get their attention. And then you say, as the pizza is whole, we will say this is one pizza or this is a whole pizza. Now, if you divide this pizza to two equal halves, okay, equal, then each half is 1/2. You have to elaborate here, I'm sure. Then if you goes on to divide same pizza into 4 equal parts, then each part will be 1/4. And if you ask them to imagine that they take fourth part of this pizza and eat it, how many are remaining? Total or each will be 3/4. And like this, if you explain the topic to them, I am sure they will be very much interested in learning fractions, and you will also be successful in introducing this new concept to the students. Now, I have a question for you. How would you feel when you dance, enact, narrate stories, make, or build something? Yes. You can write in the chat also, and if you want to speak and share, please do that. Yes. How do you feel when you dance and you enact? We have danced on, so many functions, religious functions also, and birthday parties. Makes things interesting. Yes, memorable, very nice, enjoyed, exactly. So what makes you happy? Because you're expressing yourself. Nobody is judging you. You just want to be free. You just want to show how happy you are, isn't it? And that at the same time you're stress free, happy, energized. Exactly. Okay. At the same time, it give a boost to your confidence. Simple movement of your hands and just swaying or jumping and dancing gives you a lot of pleasure. Okay, absolutely. I also agree with you. So, next, another question. Have you ever used art to teach a concept in your class? If yes, what was the response? I'm not asking which art, I'm asking what was the response of the students? What was their response? You can share any small incident or event that when you introduce, and how was the response and all.
Good evening, ma'am, if I may.
Sure, ma'am, please. Good evening.
Right. So actually, I used to teach. I'm teaching physics in class ninth, and since the syllabus is, we can finish it on time. Sometimes I used to organize activities for the students. Now they have the liberty; they can pick anything. They just don't have to go for a boring presentation. They can use an activity. They can use a game to explain one topic, and it truly amazes me to see how they are explaining the concept. For example, I gave them a topic. I asked them to explain all the properties of sound, and they literally bring down everything they can from their kitchen, from the musical store, from wherever they can arrange things to show how different sounds can be produced and how can they differentiate them.
I'm sure you also got to, new introduction to new sounds also that day, isn't it? Where,
Yes, they had questions. Now they were questioning me, ma'am. This is what we have studied in theory, but here it is different. Why so? So
yeah,
technically, they were themselves doing the research there at that very moment in the class. They were
exactly. It's
explaining it.
how's the
They were
pitch,
explaining it.
what
They
is
were
the
giving
amplitude,
answers to the
everything they must be sharing it with you.
with
I'm
me. It's rather like I was standing over there. Their classmates were answering why, what could be the reason why we are facing this variation is there. They were answering it themselves. So I
absolutely. It's
and
so
I find it.
joyful. It's so joyful for the teacher, isn't it?
Yes,
For
and
example, yes, ma'am, please go ahead.
it become some sort of research topic for them. As per from my perspective, it was a research topic. They were discussing it and all. Yeah, it was really enjoyable.
Was well researched, that means, isn't it? Yes. Same way when in my biology class, when I was taking cell structure. So we were discussing cell organelles. So when, in generally biology, it's a lecture method, the traditional, I am speaking, they are sitting, observing and all. But we made it very interesting when I asked them to make a circle. So few of them made a circle. I said, okay, you are a semi-permeable membrane. Okay, what is that semi-permeable membrane? Cell membrane. Okay, then I called one student who's a little, very strong and all. I said, okay, you are the manager here. So who's the manager of the cell? Nucleus. Okay, because it controls, it's a control center of the cell. Then we need some energy. So who's going to provide energy? Mitochondria. It will provide ATP, the energy currency of the cell. And likewise, every student was enacting one of the cell organelle, and by the end of it, if one student was forgetting his role or function, others were helping, and I was just standing over there. I said, okay, my work is done. It's beautifully covered and everybody is aware of their structures, function, organelle structure and function, as well as their friends also. And students were super happy. They said it didn't feel like a biology traditional class, and it was really interesting. So I'm sure you all must also have similar kind of experiences. Now, moving on, why is art integration important? Why is it important? So if you think about it, what is the CBSE's vision? CBSE's vision is nurturing 21st century skills. Why? Because CBSE want a students to be aware and ready for real life situations, to solve real life problems, to create opportunities, to support each other. So how are they going to become, or acquire all those skills? With the help, there comes your art integration. It is helpful in acquiring or attaining CBSE's vision. How? By with the help of art integration, your cognitive skills are enhanced. What do you mean by cognitive skills? Which skills we are talking about? We are talking about critical skills, problem solving skills. How they are activated, how they are enhanced by activating different parts of our brain. I'll cover that brain part also. So when your brain is super active, it gives you input, insight to process the information in different ways so that the students can solve the problems or think critically. It also fosters creativity and innovation. So, what is creativity? When we think of creativity, it is like creating something, creation. So, if you give students some activity, okay, fine, this is the topic. I am not going to tell you anything. You have to present it in the most innovative and creative way. So, what do? They start with imagination. Which method should I apply? Which one will be the most effective? Okay. And then go and talk to their friends. They go and research, they refer different sources. So when they are collaborating with their friends, their social skills are improved. When they are researching, when they are understanding others' point of view, they become more emotionally intelligent. They become more engaged in the activity. They know how to express themselves. So they are putting up the activity using all senses together. So it's a sensory experience also. So ultimately, it is, the product is super effective, super innovative, out of the box, and that promotes deeper understanding, and it stays with the students for a longer period of time. Again, I would mention that the students, when they work together, they show collaboration, they show sensitivity to each other. These type of activities, art integration, boost student engagement and motivation, and leave the lasting impact on them and help them understand those difficult concepts in a much easier way. As I was just mentioning about our brain, how art integrated learning activates our whole brain. So we all are aware that we brain has two hemispheres, left side and the right side. Our left side covers the analytical part, logical reasoning, maths, facts, numbers, etc. And so it focuses on the structured learning. Okay, you are given a fact, fine, you analyze it, give your understanding, give your analysis on it, and tell us what did you get it, what is your feedback on it. Whereas your right side of the mind takes care of your emotions, imagination, your expressions, its creativity, feelings, etc. So it focuses on the expression and the creative part. So when both the sides of the brain, they collab with each other, they work together in unison, that helps students understanding the concepts better. So we all know that the classrooms are generally very diversified. Okay, very diverse class. Some students will understand the logic, reasoning, or maths questions very quickly. Some will be struggling. Whereas if you want the students to enact or learn some lines of a skit, they said, oh, we can't do it because he's not aligned for that. He thinks it's difficult. But when you combine both, that logic and analysis along with expression, it covers the activity or the topic completely and give them a better understanding of the topic that they are covering. Now let's take a look at the policy and the mandate. What does the policy says about? See, some of us we feel little reluctant when we are told that you have to integrate art into your subject, or you have to plan a hands-on activity. We all know that we have to do it, but sometimes we feel very reluctant. Let me tell you, my dear friends, that what is the take of NEP 2020 or about art integration? It emphasizes a holistic and multidisciplinary approach to education. So, just for everybody's information, it is a policy of NEP. Okay, it's not a suggestion. It's not a suggestion that or an option that we may or may not use it. Rather, CBSE has given a mandate that art integration has to be a core part of our curriculum and evaluation system. So we cannot, impart knowledge or learning without integrating art into it. Rather, there is a CBSE circular which says that minimum of 10 periods per class of art integration learning should be there, and it says minimum. Okay. Now my question is, how many of us are aware of this policy? Are we aware of this policy? Yes. Are we aware of this policy? I'm sure many of us are aware. If, yeah, let me just see our, yes. Okay, wonderful. So we all are aware of this policy, which is really good. Okay. Now, how do you think art integration can be made effective? How can we make art integration more effective? Now, yes, let me just see if there is anybody who's in the chat. Yes, okay, fine. Let me just put it. So, how can we make it more effective? See, the activity that we are planning, okay, should cover the curriculum goal. Okay, that is one thing. Another is that it should have one, two, or maybe more different forms of art integrated in that activity. Third is it should promote maximum participation of students. It also encourage student collaboration. It also creates or connects, real life and cultures. Okay, and the most important is it should give students freedom and flexibility to present their ideas in different ways. Then only art integration is effective. So, if you have to sum it up, uh, what you have to do when you are planning your subject with art integration, you have to look beyond the decorative part of the activity and focus on the educational tool, activity or integration as a tool for deeper understanding of your topic or of your subject. Okay, so moving on. Okay, now we'll just take a quick look on different types of art. So when we are talking about art, art is not a monolith. Art is not just one term. Rather, we have different forms of arts. What are the different forms? Start with art integration in visual arts. What is visual art? Which can be visualized. Which so we are going to take a look at the different modes of visual arts that can be used in your subject. So using our visual art forms to explain concepts. What are the different modes? Drawing, diagrams, painting, sculpture, pottery, photography, digital art, and models. So if you look at the first diagram, it's a diagram of a heart. Okay, looking at the diagram, you can easily make out this is a heart diagram and gives a very good, detail of the heart. First of all, it shows that heart is of cone shape. It's conical in shape. Okay, look at the color, decided or color pattern here. The blue color gives the details of the pathway of deoxygenated blood. Red is the pathway of oxygenated blood, very clearly explained. Then you have four chambers. There's main artery mentioned, main vein also mentioned. So this one diagram can give a good detail of heart, and it stays with the students. Second, if you look at, we are using a clay modeling to explain human digestive system. And when you give this activity, you are asking students to bring different color clay. Why? Because we have different organs in our digestive system which has different color. So then they understand, okay, wow, liver is brown in color or dark brown in color. Where is the positioning of liver? So when they are, playing with the clay to form digestive system, not only they learn about the different organs of digestive system, they understand the anatomy and the location of these organs and how they are positioned, how the small intestine is well within the large intestine. So very good way to explain digestive system. Look at the volcano. So it's a 3D model. So to explain volcano, okay, if you don't show anything and explain, it may catch their imagination, it might not catch their imagination. But this 3D model gives a lot of information. For example, it's a landform which is raised. So the volcano is erupting from the mountain. That is one. Second, so splutter of something red coming out, which is molten rock with smoke. That means gases are also released. So when the rock, the lava is hot, it is red in color. As it cools down, it turns into gray. Again, very good way to explain volcano in social science. Now moving on to performing arts. So performing arts, help us in learning more joyful. So if you look at the first picture, what do you see? Students are dancing. Okay, which dance are they performing? We all know that they are performing Garba, which is it's a folk dance of Gujarat, right? How do you know that? Look at their costume, look at their gestures. Okay, some of them may be holding dandiya in their hand. So when the students they perform, they are using music, they different language, different hand gestures and poses and costume. So lasting impact on students to understand that Gujarat. Just a minute, please. Gujarat folk dance is Garba. Same way, if you want students to learn about a freedom struggle or freedom fighters, enactment or theater or drama is one of the most effective social science art integration activity, which helps students grasp these details of our independent struggle. Moving on to literary art integration through literary art. So look at the first diagram. If you see, what do you understand here? The student is doing a creative writing. It can be on any topic, on marine pollution or imagination, a fictional story about mermaids. Okay. Poetry can be used to learn tables by rhythmic clapping or foot tapping. Okay. Tables or periodic table, or you can learn reactivity series. These poetry can be used in a different way, or rap music. Storytelling is another form of literary art which can be used for learning. Say, for example, you want students to learn about the life cycle of butterfly or frog. Storytelling is one of the best way to for them to understand the life cycle. Okay, tell them in a story form. Tell them about the caterpillar. Tell them about the pupa and all. Same way in case of frog about the tadpole. So when you put it in the form of a story, they enjoy it. They understand it. The retention is better. Now, what is our role as a teacher? Our role is not to judge the activity or art integration activity as a qualified artist. Okay, we teacher needs to be a facilitator. So what do you mean by facilitator? So first thing is, when you decide a topic, you give them basic introduction of the topic. Okay, the topic can be at the beginning of the new session, or it can be recap. It all depends on when you are taking it. Okay, so give them the topic and help them the requirement of the activity, plus what kind of material is required. Beyond that, please don't do anything. Let them put their imagination, let them create on their own. Because if we guide too much, it is not their presentation, it will be our presentation. So our role is to facilitate the process and not to be an expert artist. So encourage students, give them material and guide them, uh, guide their creative expression. So focus should be on the learning process, how they are executing the activity, how in between what all things they are learning. Suppose they are talking about they have to present a skit on Dandi March. So the students will come together. First of all, they will, okay, they have some background about the Dandi March. What is Dandi March? But where it started and where it ended, that they have to find out. Who were the main characters of Dandi March, that they will find out. What were their costumes, that they have to find out. What was the purpose of Dandi March, why Dandi March was taken out. Okay, was it successful, not successful? So while they are preparing for the skit, they are learning. So they themselves are performing the activity and they themselves are learning. So during the process, the learning happens. Okay, so that is how we have to be as facilitators. Now, one more question for all of you. Does the idea of integrating art into your teaching appeals to you? Why and why not? Yes, please. Yes, you can write in the chat. You want to speak, share here. That also would be wonderful. Why does it appeal to you? If yes, then why? And if not, then why? Yes, I'm sure it appeals to everyone. Okay, once in a while we have to and we should be integrating art in our subjects. We do it very regularly. I'm sure we all are doing it. Okay. Another question is, when would you incorporate art in the class? Okay. We all enjoy, it all appeals to us. But when are you incorporating art into your classroom? Yeah, I'm reading a chat. Yes, it makes a student active and motivated. Definitely, students get energized actively in regular teaching. Exactly, it appeals to, as we also learn. Children give us amazing insight through art. Absolutely. Okay, in regular class, wonderful. So we all are in incorporating art integration. But when are we doing it? Is there any specific timing for it, or sequence to it? Do we have any particular sequence to it? Let me just see. Regularly, you said. Okay, fine. So art integration can be used as an icebreaker. Okay, when you are starting something new, that time you can start with some small but very interesting activities to to increase their interest in the topic, catch their attention. Or if that concept is difficult and you know that the art is going to help our students understand it better, or when you are recalling it, recapitulation of the topic. During assessment also, we can use art integration. So what is the framework and activities for art integrated learning? So it has 4 steps. First of all, you will select a topic. How are you going to select? Based on their previous knowledge. You cannot give them a topic which is totally new and they don't have any idea about it. The activity has to be based upon the previous knowledge of student. Second is providing creative inquiry opportunities for hands-on learning to students. So give them some input. What are you expecting? What is the goal of this activity? So curriculum goal has to be given to the students, that this is where you have to keep your focus. Third is reflection on new learning. So when they are performing the activity and they complete the activity, they have to reflect upon their activity, whether the learning was done or whether the curriculum goals were covered or not. So using an art form, whether they have introduced or inculcated the art form or not. And the fourth is our role, assessment of students for subject and art involvement. How we do it? By looking at their journals, by looking at their projects, their sketchbooks, etc. So it can be used as an ice-breaking activity for classroom transaction, or it can be used as a transdisciplinary project for internal assessment. For example, in science, we can use with science along with that the diagram or working model. In social science, again, theater can be combined with the subject. So there you see there is a picture which shows different, which gives different types of art integration, like role play, photography can be used, then sketching also, sculpture, clay modelings, dance performances, jewelry making, art exhibitions. There are so many options that we have to combine it with our subject. Now, I haven't talked much about mathematics. Okay, integrating art in mathematics. See, maths itself is a subject which our students, some of them, those who like it, they like it very much. But some will find it little difficult, or they are reluctant to engage in maths activities or equations. So let's say the topic is understanding geometric shapes and symmetry. So one method is that you draw different shapes on the board and say, okay, this is triangle, this is circle, this is rectangle, square, etc. Okay. Or you can ask them to draw or create mandala circle. So you see the diagram, the picture. It can be in the form of mandala circles, or in the form of a rangoli also. So if you look at both the pictures, what do you see? You see concentric circles also you see, then you see different lines, shapes, triangles. You can ask them to count the triangles and identify different shapes, look for the symmetric lines, measure the different radii and the different diameters. So many part of the geometry topic is covered in this, along with shapes and symmetry. Okay, so what is the outcome? Students visually grasp complex geometrical concepts. Otherwise, to visualize, to imagine, it has its own restriction. But when they see these kind of diagrams in front of them, and you point out the number of circles or the shapes, and or it is easier for them to understand this topic. Another method to learn different shapes. The first one has lot of, yeah, just a minute, please. Lot of shapes like the triangle, circle, square, etc. Fractions can be taught using folding the papers in different ways. Then graph, which generally is a very little dry topic for them, ask them to cut colorful strips and put it and see their engagement. And of course, angles can be shown by the students in moving their arms and hands, right angle, then acute and obtuse angle, and etc. Just a minute. I saw one hand here. Different kinds of learner. Yes. Here. Yes, please. Somebody raise the hand. May I see your hand once again, please, so that I can invite you? Okay. Fine. So different concepts of maths can be covered. Another interesting topic is learning place values. So you can make students stand in line and ask them, okay, you are ones, tens, hundreds, and change their place. And they see that how the value changes when you move you from your place. So these are different ways to explain different topics in maths. Science, we have so many different ways to explain different concepts. They talk about water cycle. This multi-layered diagram gives you complete information. There's a sun, because of that evaporation takes place, then condensation, in between transpiration also, ultimately precipitation and rain falls. So when they perform this activity, they draw this diagram, so they learn about evaporation, condensation, precipitation, transpiration, everything. So not only the water cycle is covered, so many keywords are also covered in the activity, and visually explained process always stays with students. Now, another way is by rapping, okay, which is very trendy these days. Students remember the rap. We are not able to memorize it, but students can memorize the rap very easily. Just a minute. Where is it?
If you think science is boring, think again. We're dropping knowledge with a beat. Let's rap about the planets one by one. Here we go. Let's start with the sun. That's the star that keeps us warm, number one. Next up, Mercury, closest on the run. Small and speedy, circles fast, having fun. Venus is hot, clouds thick like a stew. Earth's twin in size, but it's nothing like you. Third rock, Earth, blue and green, home to us all, you know what I mean? Mars is red with valleys deep, robots rolling, secrets to keep. Jupiter's huge with a giant red spot. Storms are raging, it's the boss of the lot. Saturn's rings, wow, what a show, icy and bright, spinning in a row. Uranus tilts and spins on its side, blue-green color taking a wild ride. Neptune's last, windy and cold, storms and ice, mysteries untold. That's our tour from sun to space, planets in order. Now you ace the race. So next time you look up and see the night, remember these planets shining bright.
So students can be asked to create their own rap about the topic that they want to present. So rapping is another, very innovative, very interesting, very, liked by the students. And on top of that, if they are asked to create a video using AI, they would definitely love it and understand and be more interesting to understand and give their presentation. Science again, we can use collage, working models. There are different ways that we can explain science concepts to students. Now let's talk about social science. Social science has a huge canvas as far as art integration is concerned. Okay. Social science is one subject you can put everything, whether it is dance, drama, theater, slogan writing, poster making, everything is liked by our students. It's like historical events, cultural diversity. You will see men, you will agree that students love social science just because of art integration. So suppose they have to depict, or present historical event, they will create a timeline. For example, freedom struggle timeline. So when did it started and what happened during, the number of years and how it ended. That is one way of learning about historical events. Students develop a deeper appreciation of history and culture because of the time when they don't have to memorize. Once they create it, they remember it. Okay, this is what happened. 1905, Indian National Congress was formed. 1919, there was partition of Bengal, and like this. 1942, Quit India movement, and then 1947, we had our independence. Again, graphs. The maps. How can we forget about maps? So very beautifully and innovatively, maps are used to learn the capitals of different states. States are colored differently. Same way, tribal art in the form of tapestry is created and put on the map. So the place that these tribes belong to, like Gond in the central India, that is Chhattisgarh, and this thing, Madhya Pradesh, etc. Then we are talking about Kalamkari of Andhra, and the Worli art of Maharashtra, and like that. Same way, surveys, the graphs are used to understand or to give put the data in front of students. So in the form of graph, it's clear. For example, Facebook, Twitter, and all that. The students understand these graphs, or which social media is liked by student in these days, whether it is Snapchat or Instagram, and so rather than telling them the numbers or percentages, that won't stay with them. And of course, Roman Empire in the form of theater. As I mentioned, posters, of course, the mock parliament, they are participating, and when they enact and they they become the representatives, they get a better understanding of our parliament. Same way, unity in diversity, whether it is a Nukkad Natak or small skit presented by students. Okay. Of course, we will not leave our languages behind, whether it is English, Hindi, or now it is French and German and so many other languages. Art can be integrated in these languages also, in the form of drama and role play. Any story can be dramatized and can be presented in the form of small skit enacted by the students. For example, epics in Hindi as well as in English. Then storytelling with the help of props, different props like puppetry. Okay, that can be performed by students. So when they play with the puppets, they are learning a new skill. And if you ask them, they will create their own puppets. I've done it for my project. The puppets are talking about plastic pollution in our water bodies. So everybody loved it, and they performed their part beautifully, and they made their own puppets also. Now, creative illustrations by drawing, painting, mime. Mime is another medium where the stories and the drama can be created. Okay, the expressions, the painting, it attracts students, and the story stays with them. Poetry and music and fusion, recitation of poems with background music and rhythm and dance, again make it more joyful, interesting, make them happy, and learning easy. Okay. Beyond conceptual clarity, what other parameters would you add to a rubric for an art integrated project? Now we are moving on to the evaluation part. Okay, because evaluation of art integrated activity is equally important as the art activity itself, art integrated activity itself. Okay, so yes, may I, right, different kinds of learners. It's all very interesting, but we need more time for this. I agree with you. Yes. Would you like to share your views on like what beyond conceptual clarity, what other parameters would you add to a rubric or an art integrated project? Yes. Okay, just a minute. Let me just see. We have something here. Okay, beyond that activity, it should have content, or it should cover the curriculum goal. Just a minute, please. Creativity. Great. So, creativity covering curriculum goal, objective. Yes. One is creativity, clarity. Absolutely right. Yes. Manpreet ma'am, you want to say something? Replacement of rote learning. Absolutely right. Yes, replacement of rote learning. What else? Design. Correct. Designing. Okay. Student engagement. Isn't it? Expression, efforts, collaboration, and very important, yes, child-centric. Then process documentation, as I earlier mentioned. Process documentation is also important in the form of a file or a model or a journal or sketchbook. So, yes, creativity, as you mentioned, student-centric, learning through engagement, inclusive learning, absolutely fine. Thank you. Thank you for that. And then uh, replacement of rote learning, collaboration, teamwork, learning through engagement, inclusive learning, absolutely. We covered it all. Now, the next, one more question here. How can we move from a mindset of grading the art, assessing the learning? So when we see, if we are given two diagrams, one which is not so beautifully drawn, but others which is very beautifully drawn, we generally, while assessing, give little more marks to the one which for the presentation. But is it the only way of grading, assessing the learning? Is it? Let me just see. Hold on. Okay. If they are able, apply in another situation. Okay. Learning through, right? So while grading, we have to keep in mind whether the diagram is neat or not neat or beautifully drawn, or the activity or the model is there, whether it is covering or depicting the topic properly or not. That is important. Okay. Not only the presentation. Hold on, please. If they are able to apply another situation, by valuing effort and participation, assess the learning. Yes, assess the learning, whether it has covered the topic completely or not. That is one. The concept is clear or not. Learning is important. Uh, in spite of lacking in presentation. Absolutely. So learning is the key word. Whether they have learned the concept or not, whether the presentation is good or not, that is secondary. But main objective is that they are depicting the topic or the concept, and shift from a product beauty to the academic utility. That is important. That we should look beyond the beauty of the model or the diagram and see whether it is academically utilized or not, from beginning to advanced. Yes, focus on learning rather than perfection. Fully agree with you. Definitely. Okay. Now moving on, assessment in art integration. Why these questions? Because we were moving on to this topic. So when we are assessing art integrated activity, our focus should be on assessing the learning, not the art. So the rubric has to be developed for this. So this is one of the area where generally we sometimes lack. We just put a regular rubric for all the activities, the same rubric, whereas the rubric has to be changed as per the activity. So develop a rubric that evaluates the student's understanding of the subject concept. For example, this one example, so evaluate based on content and conceptual clarity. As I said, the content and the concept clarity should be there, whether the topic is covered or not. Approach of creativity of the approach, whether they have applied different forms of art, one form, two, three, or many. It could be anything. Whether there was a collaborative engagement. They collaborated with other students because this is also one of the key points of art integrated learning. Process documentation. Okay, here is a small, rubric performance rubric. See, for excellent, good, satisfactory, and need improvement. First is content, clarity of speech. This is one of the English or Hindi activity. Then engagement, use of aids. Here is the art integration, use of aids and props, and time management. Like this, are when we evaluate our activities where the art is introduced, we need to have proper rubrics for our evaluation. Now, what are the challenges? As I've read in the chat, we do have some challenges. Time constraints. Art integration can be time consuming. Yes, that is why when we are planning a activity, first of all, go through all the chapters that we have to cover during the session. Pinpoint the topics that needs art integration, which by using art integrated learning, students can gain more. Please focus or highlight those topics well in advance so that you don't have to struggle later on. And remember, minimum 10 periods, 10 classes we have to use for art integration. So plan accordingly. As it is time consuming. Second challenge is resource availability, lack of art supplies. Yes, that I agree with you. So we can use the material which is easily available. Say instead of, say, suppose you need beads. Instead of beads, ask them to bring buttons. Okay, it's easier to find. Okay, or pebbles can be painted. Good out of waste can be used. Some used material from home they can be asked to bring. So, and generally we have stationery procured in the beginning of the session for all these activities. Okay, so let's come to the conclusion. How art integration help our students? One is gaining cognitive, attaining cognitive and academic gains. Deepens understanding of the subject or the topic, enhances their memory, boosts critical thinking. Personally and socially, how it helps our students by increasing engagement, they become more, their social skills are improved. Emotionally, they become a better person when they have to deal with other students. Sometimes they cooperate, sometimes they don't. So how to manage and you focus on the completion of the activity. Fosters creativity and innovation, improves collaboration. Holistic growth, promotes inclusivity, build their self-esteem, become more confident, aligns with NEP 2020. Initially, maybe when you give activities, some of the students say, "Man, I don't know how. I can't do it because I don't know how to cut the paper. I've never done it." But when they are given practice again and again, they started to not only enjoy, but they look forward to these kind of activity and then say, "Okay, ma'am, I will do this part. I'm ready to take the responsibility of this part." So holistic growth, uh, beautifully enhances their confidence and self-esteem. Okay. Now, CBSE initiatives and resources. For that, please visit official CBSE website to get a detailed circular and guidelines on art integration. And there is a proper circular on it dated May 2020. You can download Art Integrated Learning Handbook for classes 1 to 10 from CBSE academic website also, which provides project ideas and assessment. And of course, can go through Sahodaya school complexes. Now, if you don't know what is Sahodaya school complexes, basically it is a group of schools which are neighboring schools, and it's a great platform for connecting with other educators and learning from them by sharing your best practices and their best practices. When you interact with other teachers, we also learn a lot, and it's a huge insight for us also, and we get motivated looking at others way of teaching and practices. Now, art integration handbook, this is how is the cover looks like, and these are the topics and the title of the content that is covered in the book. Now, coming to an end, in one word, how would you describe the impact of art integration on learning? What is the one word that you will use for art integration? I'm reading on some of the chats, especially in senior classes. We are strictly bound by syllabus. I fully agree with you because activities and rubrics needs time, yes, but we do have to find time for that. Everlasting, yes, one very beautiful, very apt word, Jayashri ma'am. Okay. Active learning, joyful learning, very nice. Experiential learning, wonderful. Learning by doing, right? Exactly. So many words here. Okay, learning by, okay, by fouling, yes, by making mistakes, by making errors, good at retention, absolutely fine. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And in your opinion, why do students respond positively to art in their lessons? We have covered everything. Now, coming back again to our student, which is as we know, everything is child centric. Why do you think they enjoy the most? Help them connect academic content with creative expression. Yes, you will all agree rote learning is boring for them because they are the observers and we are the teachers there. I won't say facilitators. We speak and they just sit and observe because they are involved. Absolutely right. Learning beyond textbook. Shilpi ma'am, absolutely fine. Very nice. All the senses are working together, Sakshi ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for, yeah. Classroom feels inclusive. It becomes more vibrant. It becomes more alive, buzzing with their energy. And yeah, it promotes cultural awareness. Thumbs up to that. Learn more about culture. Absolutely. Okay, wonderful. Now, if you have any question, please bring it here. Let's discuss that question also. If you have any query or want to ask or share, if you want to share something, we have just another minute or so here. Art subjects encourage self-expression and creativity. Vani ma'am, absolutely right. Okay.
I
Yes,
can I?
yes, Soumya ma'am.
Ma'am, for some reason we do art integration in our class knowingly and unknowingly. But
Okay.
CBSE every year they generate one, state, the name of a state, and they ask us to integrate or to make some project
Yes.
related to that
Delhi and
particular state.
I think it's is Sikkim.
Andaman and Nicobar, it was
Andaman
given.
and yes, it was
Arunachal Pradesh.
Right?
Arunachal and Sikkim also.
Now,
Hmm.
for some reason, I find it for social science, it might work out because every state, place in India has a rich cultural heritage, history it will work out for them. But for science teachers, no, I was giving the topic to the students, class 10 students, which is supposed to be related to chemistry. But for some reason, I was not able to figure out any relevant topic that can,
Okay,
that
there
can
I would like to share. I'm also a science teacher. I'm a biology major. So, see, every place has, with respect to science, also has a lot to offer. For example, if you're talking about chemistry, let's talk about minerals of that state. Okay, maybe the soil texture. Okay,
But
percolation.
ma'am, that will come under social science also. No? It will become a geography topic if they are studying soil. Uh,
No, no.
See, this year I was
See,
assigning them
uh,
the topic. I find it really. I was juggling with the topics because somehow they are involved. They were involved with social science, more of the social science.
no,
Feel
I
that's
understand what you're saying, but when you say talk about minerals and ores and all, it's a part of chemistry also. So you can very well connect it with chemistry. Chemistry, say what all are found in say one state and compare it with the other state. You can talk about the percentage and what all things can be made the products of it, or its molecular formula and all that. You can connect it with your subject also. For biology or otherwise environmental science, we can go for flora and fauna and forest. Again, you can say that it is part of geography or part, but it is also part of our subject also. So we that's what we have to define the curriculum goal. We have to focus on the objective of the activity. You can apply physics also if you want to talk about the bridges, talk about the metal that it is found over there, how it is used in different part, how it is transported, what for transportation, what all things are required. So different ways you can you know uh, create the activity for students. I understand what you are saying. You feel that it is more for a social science, but yes, we also can. Uh,
yeah, I am getting your point, but sometimes it becomes really difficult to convince the other person, the other co-teacher, or let's say the school staff who was asking, "What are you assigning?" Because
yes,
somewhat they want it to be more specific, right? And I don't think so. In art integration, you can become specific. Art integration means you're going to interconnect with the other subjects also. That's
yes,
where
you
I
can
see
do
a
that.
lot.
Interdisciplinary, you can do that. Like I see one of the comments here, that making an abstract visible like atoms and galaxies, material nature can be related to cooking also. So your co-teacher and you both have to sit together and formulate the activity, keeping in the SDG goals also in focus, as well as your subject connected with both the states also. So you can do a comparative study, okay, or you can have an individual activity in an interdisciplinary way with, say, geography or civics or history of that. So you can combine two subjects also, right? Food of that state, yes, that students are so interested in acting, like water, rain, air. Once I had introduced students, was so happy to do that. Yes, absolutely. Any other query, please? Okay, please do leave the feedback in the chat also, and your views also, please. And I'm concluding the webinar with just with two beautiful quotes. Art integration transforms classroom into spaces of imagination, collaboration, and discovery. Integrating art in education nurtures creativity, critical thinking, and confidence in learners. Thank you so very much, all of you. And I'm Simran Sharma signing off for today.